Wizards here in Cleveland tonight and Friday night. So if you see Gilbert Arenas walking around Cleveland tomorrow.
Well, the thing is.
It's because he's in town. Who do they have? Michael Jordan.
No.
John Wall. Wizards, Cavs tonight, 7 o'clock on
Jordan Poole, I believe, is their best player at this moment.
The guy from Key and Poole? Oh, that's Jordan Peele. Wizards, Cavs tonight on the Buzzard at 7 o'clock. We'll roll out at 6:30. That's when your pregame coverage will begin here on MMS. And, of course, you can also listen on the iHeartRadio app. Cavs are at home for a minute. They're in town until the 17th, a whole stretch of home games. So there you go. And, of course, you want to get yourself some appropriate gear from CLE Clothing Company. There is a new promo code for the month of January. We're 3 days in. What do you think that promo code is? You get 20% off.
Is it dry? Like dry January?
Nope.
It's cold.
Nope.
Snow.
Resolution.
Just say resolution for 20% off.
Is it? Okay, is this one that makes sense, or should we just...
I think it makes sense. It makes sense at the very beginning of the year.
Cheers?
No.
Ball.
No.
Drop.
Jolly Good Fellow.
Use promo code Jolly Good Fellow for 20% off. What do you do to the new year?
Toast.
No.
Ring in.
Ring is your promo code for 20% off. RING. Ring at CLE Clothing Company. If you're shopping on their website, you can use it as your promo code if you're in one of their stores. Just give it to them when you check out. Just say ring. And the reason that I give this to people as frequently as I do is because I'm doing it for the benefit of not only them, the consumer, but also the people working in retail at CLE Clothing Company. Because invariably what people will tell me is they'll go in there, can't remember the word, and just say, give me the Alan Cox discount, which sounds like a threat.
Does it work?
I think yes, because obviously CLE Clothing Company, we have a long-standing relationship with them in this capacity. And so, yes, it works. But I like people to have the word so that, these are things that they track. And so if somebody says, I want to use the word ring, that's what it is. All January long. Of course, next month you'll have an extra day to use the February word since it's a leap year.
Wow.
And, very exciting. I don't know what you do on a leap year, but some people seem to be really, really excited about it.
Some people are born on that day.
Some people are born on that day. They have a birthday every 4 years. Technically, imagine that you figure if you're born in a leap year, you could celebrate your birthday anytime you wanted, right? You've got a lot of movement there. I think most people probably celebrate it on the 28th of February, but that would feel strange. You're constantly, 3 out of every 4 years, you're celebrating your birthday on a day that it is not. Every 4 years you get to celebrate your birthday. Your birthday doesn't exist most of the time. And that's got to be weird. You're living between two worlds. I mean, time's all made up anyway, but...
What if you were Jehovah's Witness? Then you'd have a double no birthday.
I know nothing about them. Do they not celebrate birthdays?
Celebrate birthdays.
Okay. Well, then you would have if you were a Jehovah's Witness born in a leap year, I think that would be irrelevant, right? I mean, it doesn't matter when your birthday is because
they just
you're
don't
not
celebrate it.
That's what I'm saying.
But
you still have a day.
Yeah. Because you still have to have it on your ID and stuff.
Yeah. Alan, I'm getting married on leap day.
Hey. Does that mean you only have to celebrate your anniversary once every 4 years?
That sounds like a
If
dude.
you even make it that long.
Yeah, it sounds like a guy's suggestion.
If you make it that long.
I mean,
Hey, some people don't make it that long. 4 years is a long time. That's why they call it the 4-year itch.
I thought it was a 7-year itch.
I'm sorry?
Oh, it's been updated.
I thought there was a 3-year itch, a 7-year itch, and an 11-year itch.
I've never heard of the 3-year itch.
I've heard 3, 7, and 11.
But also, I feel like the 7-year itch goes back to when people weren't cohabiting before they got married. See, now, by the time people get married, I think it's safe to say most people have lived together. They're not, one day I moved, you hear Ray Romano tell the story of like.
What are you doing? With 7 years.
He didn't get married till he was 27 or something like that, but he lived with his mom, got married, and then moved in with his wife. So he had never lived by himself. And he and his wife never cohabitated, never lived together. But people do now. So the wedding, the marriage, kind of a formality. So I wonder if the 7-year itch still applies. Because if you've been, maybe the 3-year is taking into account people who have lived together before.
I don't know.
They go, we got to update this. People have been living together for a long time now. Then they get married. Something clicks in their brain, even though nothing's different. Your life hasn't changed. Still live together. People have got kids before they get married.
There's people who never get married.
All bets are off. That's right. You make it whatever you want. Whatever you want it to be is what it should be.
My dad and my stepmom were together like 25 years and never got married.
And that ended successfully.
He died, yeah.
That's a successful relationship.
That's the kind of success that we can all lay claim to, though,
Right.
because we'll all die. As I understand it, I haven't seen new data, but as I understand it, we'll all die. So Ring is your promo code there at CLE Clothing Company. I did get a letter from Lindsay, who's our bureau chief in Charleston, South Carolina. If you listen to us on the iHeartRadio app, I like to know where people are when they listen out of state. Her subject line was, "My husband eats naked bananas like AC, the psychopath." After 17 years with my husband, I just recently learned that he eats his bananas completely bare like you. I had a bare banana this morning.
Gross.
It was delicious. Doesn't change the taste of the banana. I think maybe what's keeping people from doing this is they think that somehow there's some kind of change in the taste. Lindsay said it was 5:30 in the morning, and I watched him peel a banana completely naked on the counter, throw the skin away, and eat it barehanded. I had never known this about him, and I immediately thought of you. We've mostly been a vegetable household. So this is all new territory for me as he's been changing up his diet. What's even more offensive, I saw him eat an entire kiwi fruit whole, fuzzy skin and all. Now, that's where I draw the line, just because I don't want all that fuzzy skin I don't want that on my tongue. That feels like it would be very uncomfortable.
I'm allergic.
And I want to enjoy what I'm eating. You're allergic to kiwi fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, but kiwi is not
that the
as
symptoms?
prolific.
Yes, that's the big one.
Yeah. It's not as prolific a fruit. You get a fruit plate, man, maybe once in a while they'll throw you a slice of kiwi.
I have to mention it if I'm anywhere on a coast.
Do you have to mention it if you travel to New Zealand?
I've never been there, but then I would be allergic to the people, which might come off
Indeed.
as offensive.
I'm sure they're used to it. We watched a documentary. We watched a handful of documentaries over the break. One of them was about these people, and Gwen remembered this because it was only 2019, I think. I didn't remember it at all, so it was all new to me. These people who were on a sightseeing trip to an active volcano in New Zealand and got trapped there when it erupted. I think it's just called the volcano, and it happened, and like 18 people died. But all the people they're talking to throughout the course of the documentary who lived, they have very severe burns. I mean, none of them were facially disfigured because obviously when they were running away, they were covering their face. This thing just explodes in a plume of hot ash. But these people, they're kind of in the fetal position and guarding their faces. But in the meantime, their backs and arms and legs are being fried through their clothing with hot volcanic ash. And some people didn't even make it. Some people got all, they ended up all Pompeyed there and had to be extracted later on. But I'm like, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, Pompeyed crisis actors.
Yeah, those people have never been seen again.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that means? But it was pretty wild. And this, most of them were Europeans, or they were from the UK, but there was one couple from North Carolina who were there on their honeymoon. They had just gotten married, and they went. And the woman, young-ish couple, and the woman was clearly, even beforehand, she was clearly uncomfortable with this situation. But she was nervous and asking people, hey, how frequently does this erupt? And you would think if they told you this hasn't erupted in 200 years, that you'd go, okay. And then what a wild freak occurrence of nature it would be if they were there and it erupted.
You better go play the lottery.
But it sounds like it's been, based on what they told her, it's been erupting like every 3 years. So it was based on that. If you could use that as any kind of guide, it was due for another eruption. They're like, well, it erupted in 2013, erupted in 2016, but there was nobody on the island at these times. And they're taking tourist groups out. This is an area, there's a lot of these places where, their whole economy is tourism and taking people out to this volcano. And Gwen's like, this is something we would have done. I said, I would never go to an active volcano. No, thank you.
I might.
I love doing stuff when we travel. I would not go to an active where there's pools of like acidic fluid even before it's erupting, right?
I saw Dante's Peak. I'm not going.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I might do that.
Yeah, you're
an active volcano. Like no, thank you.
Yeah, but I would
not one that just erupted 3 years ago.
I wouldn't want to peer over the edge into an active volcano, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Well, a lot of these people, they were like you. They were like, yeah, we're going. And the tour guides, you're run-of-the-mill tour guides, like people who work for these companies. 2 of them died in this thing. And, they were talking to the families of the people who didn't survive, So it was a very compelling documentary. But I was like, there's no way I would go to an active volcano. No, thank you. You got to respect nature, I think. And it's not necessarily that it's disrespectful of nature, but I think you just got to have, I don't know. There is a case to be made for playing the odds. What are the odds it's going to erupt the day we're there?
That's
Probably
right.
pretty minimal. And that's exactly what all these people thought. But, man. And then, of course, I was thinking of Poundcake because another documentary we watched was about Abercrombie and Fitch.
Oh, White Hot.
Yeah, it's called White Hot.
I'm aware.
The rise and fall of Abercrombie and Fitch. Have you watched that?
Yep.
Because they go into, and Poundcake has told us about his time at Abercrombie and Fitch.
I was at Hollister, which is
Hollister. Yeah, there you
the
go.
Sister company.
Sorry, but
yes.
same thing, right?
Yes, it's owned by L Brands or whatever.
Yeah, Les Wexner, right, is the guy at the top of this. He was the guy that funded Jeffrey Epstein, and he's the richest man in Ohio. And
I didn't know it was in Ohio.
It's in Columbus, just outside Columbus, like New Albany or something like that.
So, yeah, we needed a palate cleanser from all the murder miniseries we were watching over the break, and so we watched this Abercrombie documentary. And it's funny because they made it very clear what models and impactors meant in this document. Poundcake was famously an impactor, which means you're in the back.
Get your ass to the back.
Second-class citizen.
That's right. You're in steerage. Because, as the company saw it, you're not hot enough to be out front. You're not good-looking enough. And of course, the fall in the rise and fall of Abercrombie and Fitch are lawsuits and things like that. A group of people had sued him saying, we either got fired or our hours were reduced to nothing because that was their way of telling us that we weren't hot enough, or that it was comically white, by the way. The people that were the models, the people that were employed by Abercrombie and Fitch. I think that that's the image that people conjure in their head when they think of walking past those stores in the mall.
You have the model standing in the doorway.
You never saw anybody darker than eggshell at Abercrombie and Fitch.
Well, they did, but I don't know if they were they would be in the pictures, like the advertisements, but I've never seen
not humans walking around in the store. Not anyone I saw.
No. But I feel like maybe it just wasn't at my store, but I feel like they would have to because obviously I know that there was it was covert racism, but they weren't they didn't want people to realize like, oh, we don't have any people of color working here. So I feel like they had people out front just to say like, oh, look, we're not racist. Or
Well, yeah, they
anything.
hired. I mean, when people started freaking out, they hired a corporate diversity guy or something like that. But there wasn't much that guy could do.
See, I worked at American Eagle all of high school. And we not made fun of the fact that they had naked people outside, but it was like very much like our clothes speak for themselves. Like, we don't need a man with abs to lure people in. Like,
Well, but American Eagle was also referenced toward the ends of this documentary where they were like, people's tastes moved more that way because American Eagle was very clearly for everyone. They weren't trying to kind of,
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, I think they wanted you to be like plain face at Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister. Like they didn't want girls to wear like makeup or like flashy red lipstick.
No, they had very specific. They would show like the guidebook. They had.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you had it. They had very specific.
Yeah. So they had the girls that were like, well, I'm not going to not wear my makeup, or I'm not going to wear my hair. Like, I don't want to wear my hair down every day. I want it to be in a ponytail. And when you would work at those other stores, you could do that. You could wear makeup or you could put your hair in a ponytail.
And American Eagle was also very big on like size inclusion. Like they were one of the first ones. Again, I was a denim expert. They were one of the first ones that were doing like up to 14, 16, 3XL in store, whereas a lot of other places you would have to order those sizes online and things like that.
And then Torrid ripped them off.
Which is ridiculous.
Torrid took their business model and said, "What? 14? Take it to 32."
I will say, at the time when I was working there, I didn't think it was like racism at that time. It wasn't. They didn't make me feel less than like the corporation. So I felt like I had a job like everybody else because the other guys I was working with, they were clearly. I wouldn't say they were better looking than me, but they were jacked. They were muscular, and they were in the back just like I was. So it didn't feel like racism at that point. It was some of the people that were working there that just thought they were making the same amount of money as me, and they just thought they were so much better. Like, they were so snooty, and they were just awful. Like, it was just, they would frame me for stuff. Like, they would put hoodie. They knew I was working.
Frame you?
Yes, I was working a certain section of, like, the stocking area, and they would come into my section and move stuff around after I already organized it. And then they would put stuff where it wasn't purposely, like where it wasn't supposed to be on purpose. And then when my supervisor would come back and check, he's like, "Cody, what are these?" I'm like, I didn't put those there. He's like, "You're the only one working back here." So they would do stuff like that. So some of the people that were working there were racist, or I think it was like
Maybe they just didn't
jealous
like
like
or
you.
whatever it
hazing
was.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, because I was a seasonal employee, and the people that worked there year round, they were like, "Oh, here comes the seasonal guys." We
I
were like
guess,
temp
but if you're
guys.
all making the same money,
That's what I'm
I don't
saying.
understand how you end up thinking you're superior to somebody else.
At the time, it was
you're
like
allowed to be out front.
Yeah, but you're making the same amount of money.
The same
But it
amount of
doesn't
money.
matter.
Poundcake's
People
like,
can
ha
see
ha,
you.
sucker, I'm back here. We're still making the same amount of money.
Well,
Be different if you were out front and making more.
There's hierarchies in the positions too. Like we had people who were stockroom, but we didn't refer to them as impactors. They were just like stock whatever. But then like the worst place to be put, where everybody got put first place, was fitting rooms. Like if you worked in the fitting rooms, that sucked because all you're doing all day long is go backs. You're just taking stuff from people, getting different sizes. But that was because you weren't like a cashier.
Right.
Cashiers were like the bubbly personality, like usually cuter, so that you could get people to sign up for credit cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, there were
There's hierarchies for sure.
there were the female supervisors. They were great. Like the women were not awful to me. There was one male supervisor. He was just a dick, and I don't know why he was a dick. He was just mean, and he was mean to me for no reason.
Did that turn you on?
No. and then like so my supervisor was gay, and then there was like a couple other guys that were gay. They were also mean. And again, at the time I didn't think it was racism. I didn't know if they were just stuck up, like you can't
They're
date me, you
homophobic.
can't talk to me. Yeah, whatever. Maybe they were homophobic. They were homophobic gays.
Mm-hmm. They're out there.
But my first
Yeah.
day,
Self-loathing gays.
my first day on the job was Black Friday, and I got to rub the makeup on one of the models because he had a big back tattoo, and they didn't allow that. So I had to put cover up on him. So I'm literally like rubbing this guy down. I'm like, and then I was like, let me just see him do his thing for a second. Like, I just want to see him like stand out front. And then my supervisor was like, Cody, we need you back there. I'm like, back to impacting. It's been 2 hours.
I want to be
Quasimodo.
impacting that dude's back a little bit more.
He was
Back
straight.
to your bell tower, Quasimodo.
Honestly, though, really, that's what it felt like.
He like drags his leg.
Don't come out front unless you are instructed.
Uh-huh.
We need to let people know that you're coming out front so they can
The
prepare.
daylight burns!
Shield your eyes.
Hey, Dick.
Hey, I never heard Poundcake swear on the air.
Neither have I.
Yeah, that was funny. You know, the Dayton Mall and Fairfield Mall where I worked had them out there, and
The
I
Pretzel Mall?
I went in there a couple. Abercrombie and Fitch, and American Eagle.
Yeah, Abercrombie.
Abercrombie.
And Fetch. Yeah, no, I love it. Did you ever buy any clothes from there, Dick?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't. I walked in one time. I didn't like it. I never did like it. But it's funny you were mentioning about he went in the fitting rooms today. One of the ladies was new, and she says, "Why don't you just go in there, Dick, and try these on?" These were like a 40, 47, and I usually get 40. Well, let's see, 46, and it was funny that this one was mismarked. It was a pair of black slacks, and they fit 40. I've never had 47 length, but they fit pretty good. It was
47
Length?
or waist?
Yeah, because I usually wear 44, but the 47 fit me. I don't.
How
know if they
tall
fit
are
the
you?
right
No,
size.
that's waist, not length. He's like, what are you, like 6 foot, Dick?
Yeah, I'm 6 foot.
47. Okay.
This was a typo.
Around.
That was pretty funny, but that was the Browns. I want to congratulate Stefanski. They got Flacco now.
He shops at Abercrombie and Fetch too. I think Stefanski.
Yeah. But I think they're going to I think they're going to go 2 or 3 rounds. And if they win the Super Bowl, I got to come up there and celebrate, don't I?
Dick, do you remember? You know, Frank Ryan died. Do you remember Frank Ryan?
You know how old I was when I saw them watch that? I was born in 48. I remember watching the game here on CBS, and I saw, who was it, Ken Coleman and Warren Lahr, and I think it was Frank Gleber, and I remember listening to Gib Shanley and Jim Grainer on the radio.
It's a lot of names. Yeah, Frank Ryan was the last quarterback to win an NFL title with the Browns.
What do you guys think? You think they can go all the way?
I do.
I think they could go all
I'm
the
wacko
way.
for Flacco.
That's it. Thank you, Dick. Appreciate that.
Licky, 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 boom, boom, down.
Apparently, Joe Flacco walked into a Dunkin' Donuts
Boom, boom, down.
over the weekend in Brooklyn or something.
Ooh.
And everybody just got all creamy in the jeans there because Joe Flacco was walking in. Dude probably just wanted to get a coffee, a couple of crullers.
I can't get over Abercrombie.
Abercrombie and Fitch and Kevin Stefanski, the coach of the Cleveland Browns. And the girl at the fitting room somehow called him by his first name. Here's your 47 inseam jeans, Dick.
He's 9 feet tall.
That's what I was getting. Inseam. No, that was he likes to peg them, Mary. He's old school. I've got to take a break. If you want to send a text, 35192. You can leave messages as well if you're listening on the iHeartRadio app.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on